we're here today to talk about longevity, right? And that is what my mom didn't have. She had a love for life, and she had knowledge early on that she wasn't going to live to be a little old lady someday. And so, you know, she never got to be a race car driver, but she took every opportunity when she was in remission to live life as fully as she possibly could. And that's what inspires my life's mission, right? Because we're not really guaranteed. But the science of longevity has come a long way in the last couple of decades. We have leading experts like Dr. Peter Attia. Have any of you heard of Dr. Attia and followed his work at all? I have handouts. Lisa, maybe you could grab them and maybe just share them around the room, because this is going to be homework for you later this evening. But Dr. Attia is a leading expert in the field of longevity medicine. And he's the first one who talked about health span versus lifespan. Do you see the difference? So lifespan is how old am I going to live, but health span is how long of a robust life am I going to have, right? And if you look at average lifespan currently today, like if you looked at a baby born today, the average lifespan is about 80 years. But currently, if you look around, how most people are aging is we spend about 10 to 15 years at the very end of our life with gradually worsening, debilitating disease, right? It's not very pretty. So Dr. Attia has a whole plan for, looking at, how do we really dive in to figure out not just adding years to our life, but adding quality years to our life. Blue zones. Who's heard of the blue zones? Who's seen the Netflix special? Okay. So the blue zones are communities around the world. They were first talked about by Dan Buettner. He was a National Geographic journalist, and he discovered that there were communities around the world, like Sardinia in Italy, like Ikaria in Greece, Okinawa, Japan, and there's a community in California, Loma Linda, where people live longer than they live anywhere else on average. And so he went to these places and he interviewed the people and he looked at their communities and he tried to understand. He asked the question, why do people live longer in the blue zones? And over the years, this idea has become hugely popular. It's really highly romanticized, this idea that if you could go and learn from the people in Sardinia, maybe you too could live, a long, healthy, robust life. And so he's written books. There's a Netflix special. I encourage you to watch it. There's even community initiatives where whole communities have decided to strategically design into their community infrastructure based on Blue Zones principles. Now, the Blue Zones, unfortunately, don't reveal a magic formula. And I'm sorry to report that. I wish there was a magic formula. Just like my mom, I think we're all really looking for that one miracle cure that's going to give us hope. But we can distill the concepts of the blue zones down into 4 basic things, and you don't have to memorize these because they're on your handout. But I'm gonna share them with you now. It's basically, right, eat your vegetables, right? Spend time with friends and family. Be active. And Dee Dee mentioned this earlier, know your purpose. I'm going to repeat those. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Eat your nuts and seeds. Hang out with your girlfriends. Right, Trisha? Host a girls' night. Plant a garden. Be active. Get your steps. And know your purpose. That's the blue zones. Dr. Attia takes it a little deeper with practical strategy, and you can see that in the graph below. He doesn't just say exercise. He divides it up into specific strategies around exercise because he asks of his patients, how old do you want to live to be? Have you asked yourself that? How old do you imagine yourself living? I ask all of my patients that. And if you would imagine your 88-year-old self, what do you want your life to look like? And how are you training for it? So for example, 88-year-old Rachel wants to be independent. She wants to be able to carry groceries into her house up the 1 step, right? sounds good. 88-year-old Rachel wants to not get tripped by the little puppy that's running around, right? So I need strength and also agility and stability. And 88-year-old Rachel wants to not develop COPD or lung disease, so I need regular cardiovascular exercise, especially in the form of like HIIT training, which is demonstrated to improve our VO2 max, which correlates strongly with our longevity. So there's specific types of exercise that actually matter in terms of designing a life that we want to live, rather than the way we see it done so often. So there's no magic formula, but there's strategy. There's strategy. And I think it takes really having a plan